public health. Learn more at rivieraradio.com. That's rivieraradio.com.
What if your body already knows how to heal? It just needs the right support to do it. Bioregulatory medicine is a total body and mind approach to health that works with your body, not against it. It's a safe, gentle, drug-free, and proven medical model that supports your natural ability to regulate, adapt, regenerate, and heal without side effects. Whether you're seeking to restore health or prevent illness, bioregulatory medicine offers a smarter path forward. Take control of your health with knowledge. Visit brmi.online, home of the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute, a nonprofit global leader offering a powerful free library of trusted resources, articles, podcasts, videos, and more, all at your fingertips. Visit brmi.online. That's brmi.online.
Building AI Boston is a tech talk for everyone. Listen in to find out why you belong in the conversations shaping our future every Thursday morning, 10:30 Eastern Time on Radio Central AM 830 WCRN.
Did you know your business loses $1,685 per employee each year? Poor health doesn't just mean sick days. It drains energy, lowers productivity, and impacts your bottom line. I'm Kelly Hamilton, certified holistic nutritionist, ICU nurse, and owner of A Better Path to Wellness. I help businesses create healthier workplaces so employees thrive and companies save money. Let's optimize the wellness and productivity of your team. Call 774-253-4934 today.
Now, Dadurday Radio continues with Sean Burke and Frank Oddie, live and local radio from the center of New England, the center of the dial, and the center of information radio, Radio Central, 830 WCRN.
I'm Sean Burke, and I'm here with my
Frank
friend.
Oddie.
He's not Frank Oddie, but my friend Joe Mangiacotti. And who I call the talented Mr. Mangiacotti.
The talented. This is so cool to be a radio station, Sean.
Yeah. I think Joe actually built it.
Yeah. Well, actually, the studio,
building,
yeah.
right?
Not the building, but the studio. Yeah.
So, but
which remind folks, we are in fact streaming to the WCRN Facebook page. So if you go to our Facebook page, you can take a peek into the studio or to the YouTube channel, but that's it. We'll have to add your social media stuff so that when you can go to the Facebook page of Dadurday or advocacy or any of your. And now you're kind of doing all this under one location. I'm talking about website. So you've decided, I'm not going to run 3 or 4 websites. We run the one website and all of the services kind of under that one roof.
Yeah, courtsidelegalinvestigators.net. And it really explains, hey, what innovative stuff we're doing. And this is really what it comes down to. You know, Dadurday does a wonderful job, right? The nonprofit does a wonderful job with figuring out families, right? And building stronger communities. But when things go south, right, which happen in very good families all the way to, no one really, all the way down to the worst possible parent on the face of the earth. Right?
There's a young man in custody this morning who really went bad.
Yeah. And he might be from really good parents.
He might,
right? Who knows, right? Yeah. And he just may have a mental health problem, or maybe he doesn't. Yeah. Okay. But somebody, right now, his case is extreme, right?
Extreme.
Because that's extreme behavior. But most of our clients are, say, district court clients that, I look at this, one case where this individual's on a train and then he stabs the woman in the neck. I look at that, and he had 16 times he was in court prior to that, and 16 different cases. And I say to myself, why didn't somebody step in, right? Why did we just follow this system we've been using for 200 years plus to say, hey, you know what, you did the crime, this is what we're going to do to you, and then you're going to go back out into the community and put us all at risk.
Well, one thing in that case too, John, we had a magistrate who is not a lawyer or law degree, degree or pass the bar, because in South Carolina, you can be appointed a magistrate with either a 4-year degree or equivalent and a 40-hour course. And then you can become a judge.
That's
So
insane.
maybe we have people on the bench holding people's lives in their hands, but the other side of holding that person's life, right? You're going to measure that against the danger to society that judge or this magistrate's hold.
Think of this, Joe. Restraining orders in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
A judge gets knocked off the bench when they say did not issue a restraining order. Right? That's, there's that much pressure for a judge, right? Hey, they have to issue a restraining order pretty much.
Pretty much, right.
Almost
they're petrified of what happens if they don't.
Yeah, because if it doesn't go well, they lose their job, right? But every day, all across the state, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, right, we're releasing people back into the community who are committing crimes with no attachment. That if that person goes out and commits another crime. Now I'm going to give an example. I'm at Lawrence District Court, and I'm sitting there, and I'm saying to myself, watching person after person come up that has committed a crime. They had already committed a crime. They got back into society. They've committed another crime, right? Got rearrested, and they stand in front of the judge, and the judge says, well, I'll release you on personal recognizance. Well, what do you think the person's going to do? You just said, hey, it's okay. No matter how you look at it.
Yep.
And what I tell clients, with my clients, right? Hey, you've embarrassed the judge, because they understand that. They actually understand, hey, I messed up.
Yeah.
Right. But they don't see that when they go back into court. Doesn't cost them anything. Right. There is no real penalty. Right. I'll deal with it another day. And the judge is like, yeah, you can, I'm going to release you back. You can, maybe I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean,
run the streets.
And I have many friends that are judges, right? 22 former clients that are judges. They don't think like that. But from the outside, that's how I look at it. I mean, I'm looking at it. I worked in the courts, worked for a judge, did lots of different great work in the courts. I really enjoyed it. And their heart's in the right spot. They're sincere. But the system is broken when it comes down to people getting back out into society and committing crimes. And that is not right. If somebody wants to continue to do that, then they did not get the message.
Right.
And that's really what court's about, right? It's getting the message.
And I still, I'm not a fan of, actually, I'm against no cash bail big time. It defeats the entire purpose. I don't even know how you can call it no cash bail. There is no such thing as no cash bail. It's just personal recognizance. You know what I'm saying?
Is there a credit card with the court?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that makes no sense. So, I mean, that's something that I think we have to get away, because that is used to hold people in check. And, if they don't have that support structure and people who can help them fix this wrong, they maybe should be held in jail if they're a danger out there, right? The judge, I mean, it's supposed to be based on flight risk and so forth, but there's got to be that dangerousness.
But how about victim risk?
Well, that's it.
If you thought about, like, I have a lot of clients that, they're sleeping in a foyer and they need housing. Yeah, I get that. That's easily fixable, actually, as it turns out. But as long as we can get the person to do it, right? They have to buy in. But if you're beating up your spouse or partner, and then you're back, because you're at a bar fight, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Right. And you didn't get the message the first time because you still have a pending case. Yeah. There should be rules that are around that.
And you're incapable of behaving. You're incapable of self-discipline to keep yourself out of a bar fight. Of course, if you're in for domestic abuse in the first place, back to what you said, right? Victim risk. Now, if you let that person back out before it's adjudicated and it's examined, aren't you putting that victim back at risk again?
Well, think of this. If you had avocure, right, that concept at the arraignment, your second time you committed a crime in a month, and you said, hey, you know what? I'll release you, but your conditions of release are that you have to go to therapy. You need to, in essence, become a good citizen in our community. That works. Very simple.
Now, in a case of like domestic abuse, should that judge release him to go back home to the house where they victimized the spouse?
A lot of times they don't, and because they don't, there's a lot of victims who may not testify against because they feel like that they've been re-victimized, right? Because
Absolutely.
just say that is the person who is paying the bills, paying the rent, the mortgage, and now all of a sudden they don't pay it. The individual gets nervous about calling the police, right? Or cooperating with the district attorney's office. This is why we can bypass those things by saying, hey, you know what? While you're waiting for trial, while this case is pending, you don't need somebody to tell you to work on yourself. I just concluded that many, many years ago and started to implement policies with my own personal clients that made it work. It did not matter if they committed the crime or not. As long as it's enough that you're not going to be going to jail, right? You did it, attempted murder. Like obviously it doesn't work there, right? But cases where, hey, you were in a fight, or you responded poorly, or you punched a hole in the wall. I have several clients that have served time because they're intellectually disabled. They live with their mother. I'll just use that as an example, of their parents, right? They get mad, they punch a hole in the wall in their own room or in their own house, and it's destruction of property, and this sitting in a jail cell. And you say to yourself, was the jail really made for somebody like that? The mother just called, she wants help. Why don't we just give her the help, right?
Right.
When I was doing investigations, I would always say that to myself. I don't understand this. Like, this is ridiculous. This guy's sitting in a jail cell, and we're going to try to help get him out of there because they want to do what they call a 58A, a dangerous hearing, because the guy punched a hole in his own wall. It does not.
I guess
really
you could
add
look
up.
at it too. He punched it in the wall and not a person.
Yeah,
right? I mean, there's a upside sometimes.
Another classic one where a lot of my clients have got in trouble is that they tried to exit a house and they push the person out of the way, which is an assault and battery.
Yep.
Right, because it's the unwarranted touching of another, but
They were trying to flee.
they were just trying to get out of there. Is that this happens in households all the time? When does it become criminal, right? It becomes criminal when the individual who is the receiving party decides that is not an appropriate reaction, right? So that's really the problem. So how do you fix that? Well, you tell the person there's 2 exits to every house, or at least legally they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
So you
Fire
know what?
code, yeah.
Yeah, you can't. You might not be able to go out the front door, but you can turn around and go out the back door. And teaching them that, as silly as that sounds, does help and stops victimization moving forward. So something as simple as that is the importance of why I've developed a lot of these things. But I do want to say one thing, Joe, because I really feel like you tap into the community. And before we jump, Joe has done so much for the community in the radio in getting good, positive messages out there and keeping things really level and grounded, right? On all his shows, I've listened to him for years. I really want to commend you for that, because it's that type of work that's needed throughout many industries, from the radio to private investigations.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that people or the listeners are aware of it.
Yeah, we do our best on that.
You do more than your best, Joe.
Thank you.
I'm learning from Joe, or I'll say the talented Mr. Mangiacotti.
Mr. Ripley.
Yeah. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Dadurday Radio with Sean Burke and Frank Oddie on live and local